everybody, welcome back to ThatGuyNick. Today I am reviewing a very late review, and it's 10:14. It is pounding rain outside, and and it's actually perfect weather for this. I am doing a review for the show, the new Netflix show, The Sandman, based on the comic books The Sandman, written by Neil Gaiman, who was actually attached to the show. Anyways, you saw me do trailer reactions for the show a while ago, and I have been intrigued by the series. I wasn't originally going to watch it when stuff was slowly coming out from it, but sooner or later I kind of went, yeah, I'm definitely going to watch the show. So this week, after I finished Arrow Season 6, I'm like, I need something to watch, and I wanted to do a review, so I hopped on it. I hopped on the train of the bandwagon of The Sandman. I just finished the series last night, episodes 9 and episodes 10, and now I'm going to review them for you before I go on vacation tomorrow. So if you're watching this video, I'm on the road to San Diego, and you're gonna get vlogs and videos from that. Anyways, not the point. I'm here to talk about The Sandman. So this is a full spoiler review, by the way. Everything is spoilers, and that's it. So spoiler warning, full spoilers, and that's all I'm gonna say. So let's talk about The Sandman. So, listen, the story is good for the first 6 episodes. For the rest of the episodes, 7, 8, 9, and 10, are honestly not great. They're not terrible, though. They're good. It's a good new story. It felt like it was an entirely different season. It felt like it was a whole, like a separate season than what it was, even though it was connected and everything, because there was episode 6, and episode 6 is kind of like a break point where, like, you finish this arc of the season, now you go into this arc of the season. So it kind of felt weird, even though episode 6 was the best episode of the series. It still felt weird, So we're going to talk about episodes 1 through 6, and then we're going to break down 7, 8, 9, and 10. Obviously not fully break them down, but just kind of push them out there. Anyways, episode 1, Sleep with the Just. Not going to get into it much. Not the best episode, honestly. Episode 1 is like in the middle between the two. It's like alright, but it's not great. It's definitely, if you don't know the comics and you're not a fan of it, and you watch the show, you're just gonna drop off immediately after the first episode. If you're a fan of the comics and you do love these characters, you're gonna stick with throughout the whole show because you'll understand it. Me, I'm right in the middle. It's not that I don't care about the franchise, I just don't know much about the characters, and it's also the fact that I only know Dream, and that a lot of people do like the show. So I was right in the middle, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna stick through it no matter what. So I watched the first episode and I was like, okay, that's a very, very, very slow start, and it was good. It was all right. The first episode. That's really all much I can say. I liked where I think it shows where it's gonna go, especially with how the first arc of the series, which when I forgot the character's name. It was like Alex Burgess. Yes, the Burgess people. The goddamn crazy cult who summoned the Sandman, who meant to summon death, but got him instead and stole his helmet, his ruby, and his sand. The 3 things that help, make him stronger. To make him stronger, basically. I don't know more. Yeah, so he gets those stolen from him, and then he's stuck, and then he finally gets back to the dreaming, and then he's like, what the hell happened in the past 100 years? Because the dreaming has been destroyed. Since he's been gone, he hasn't been able to rule and all that stuff, so things kind of went to hell. So these first 6 episodes is him trying to find it. So in the second episode, he's trying to figure out who has what. So he goes to the Fates, and the Fates tell him, hey, the Fates answer in riddles. So like he asks one question to each of them about his helmet, his ruby, and his sand, and he has to figure out from there. That's pretty much what the second episode is, as he finds offerings and stuff. Which brings me to the beginning of the episode really quick. There's a gargoyle named Gregory, and he's in the episode and show for like a solid 3 minutes, and loved him so much. He's a gargoyle dragon named Gregory, and he dies. And I was like, you gotta be shitting me. They just introduced this creature, and they kill him off. And they kill him off for a purpose, because Morpheus doesn't have a lot of power or strength, so he has to absorb something that he has created before to give him the strength. To give him the strength to go into other dreams and take offerings for the fates. So they lose Gregory, and Gregory belonged to Abel and Cain, who are in the dreaming, the original murderer, and the two brothers, Cain, who murdered his brother Abel. So they took care of Gregory, and then at the end of the episode, Dream gives him a new egg, a new gargoyle, which I thought was pretty cool. And they named him Goldie, aka Gerving, that Abel likes to call him. Anyway, so I just thought that was really kind of fucked up. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. You killed off Gregory? And his name's Gregory, too. Come on, man. Anyways, the third episode was the best, man. That is the third best episode. The third was one of the best episodes. Joanna Constantine, played by Gina Coleman. Just a fantastic character. Fantastic character. Joanna Constantine. She was in one episode this series, and she stole the entire show. And that entire episode is, we basically get some of her origin and like what she does and what she goes through, and she had Dream Sand and she finds it. And I thought episode 2 was really good. Episode 2 was called episode 2. Episode 3, I'm dumb. Episode 3 was Dream a Little Dream of Me. Anyways, she was in one episode, episode 3, and she was fantastic. And I really liked the back and forth between her and Morpheus, because she's kind of like, she's heard stories of Dream and Morpheus, so when she some person is probably I think an informant who knows a bunch of stuff about the mystic and whatever, and she talks to Joanna, and she's like, Morpheus is coming for you, because he wants to know. And she's like, alright, whatever. And then he just shows up, and then she's like, oh shit, you're actually real. The Endless, that's kind of funny. And I'm like, yeah, yep. And so I thought the whole reactions and stuff was really cool, especially the end of the episode where Joanna has had a girlfriend, I forgot her name, and she left her a long time ago. And the thing is, the sand was there, so she had to go back and get the sand. And when she got there, what was happening was the sand had created this fictional world for her girlfriend, her ex, and she had been dying because the sand isn't meant for human hands. So she had been dying, and then Dream, changed all these years, being there for 100 years, because he decides to let her die peacefully in a dream, which I thought was really nice of him to do, which we see throughout the show how much he changes, even though we haven't really seen how he was before the fact. But either way, I thought it was really nice. But anyways, the third episode was great. Episode 4 was when Dream goes to hell, and then to find his helmet, and he encounters Lucifer, played by Gwendolyn, I know her first name, but Gwendolyn Christie. Crystal? No, it's Christie. And she was outstanding as Lucifer for that episode. The episode A Hope in Hell. So Lucifer and Morpheus are talking, and they have this, he finds the demon who has his helm, and now he's like, hey, I want it back. And he's like, nope, you can't have it back. You gotta fight Lucifer. And it's not really a fight. It's more of a battle of wits or mind. I don't know what it was, but it's it starts off with Lucifer's I am a wolf or something, and it's I think it's a dream kind of thing, and he's I am a hunter, and they do damage to each other, and then at the end, Morpheus is I got the upper hand, even though she was basically killing him, and he's I got the upper hand, I am hope, because there's a whole back and forth, like who's stronger than what, like who's the predator here, and who's, it was a whole back and forth thing. I thought it was really cool. And a funny thing, in the episode before, we are introduced to a talking crow named Matthew, who was voiced by Patton Oswalt, who was a surprise actually to see. And I thought that was really cool actually to see Patton Oswalt, who I had no idea was in this show, so that was definitely a surprise. And he's like helping him out. He's like, "Dude, get your ass up, come on, man." And I thought that was that whole episode's really good. Episode 5 is when shit got crazy. So the protagonist, or the antagonist, is John, who is the son of the guy Burgess, the guy who originally caught Morpheus. And so he had the ruby on him. John had gotten a hold of the ruby from his mother Esther, who slept with Burgess, and she hadn't aged at all because she had a protective necklace. She traded the helm for the necklace with the demon, which is why Lucifer had to go to hell to find the helm. Anyways, so he had the ruby, and he was able to bend the ruby to his will, so he was the only one able to use it. So when Lucifer went to find the ruby, it didn't work. So John came and he got it. So now that John has the ruby, there was this whole episode that takes place in a diner. And what the ruby does is the ruby removes all the lies from everybody and gives everyone their dreams, makes their dreams a reality. So he was bending the will of these people. Not bending the will, he was just making them see and not tell lies. He's making them tell the truth, and it was so goddamn crazy. Like, there was a couple, there was a cook, there was a waitress, there was and two guests who didn't know each other, but everyone had a thing going on, and it was bad shit. They all ended up dying in the end because they all either killed each other or killed themselves. One guy put a nail and slammed it through the table and chopped his arm off. One slit her throat. One stabbed her eyes out with screwdrivers. One burnt her, also burning her arms too. One chopped his hand up and bled out. One got stabbed in the neck. And one had a tattoo with a girl's name on it that she had an argument with the day before, and she cut it off and just died and bled out. And I'm like, and the thing is though, it was so insane because the writing and these characters, we never met them before, and they really have no big role in this show at all because they're only there for one episode, but you're so invested because you're like, what in God's name is going on? And John, by the way, played by the great David Thewlis, who's in the Harry Potter franchise, he was fucking amazing. He has this crazy fucking person role, fucking nailed. Apparently, he's supposed to be Dr. Destiny, if I'm correct. And he was just amazing. So then at the end of the episode, they're all dead, and John's like, that was fun. And then Dream shows up, and he's like, yeah, you're not supposed to be doing this, you bastard. So he fights John off, and John does what Dream wanted him to do, which was destroy the ruby, for Dream could absorb the powers. So then Dream absorbs the powers of the ruby, and he's like, I'm not going to kill you, I'm just going to throw you into a sleep. So he knocks him out cold, and he goes to sleep forever. And that was it. And I thought that was a fucking great episode because the writing was solid as shit, and it was so insane too. So then episode six strolls along, and I'm like, my God, man, my God, what is this beauty of an episode? So it starts off with Dream sitting at a bench feeding pigeons, which it's a moment from the comics, which I've seen from a bunch of other people. So he's sitting on this bench feeding the pigeons, and his sister, Death, comes and starts talking to him because she's worried about him. She actually cares. She loves her brother, and they're having this conversation, and she's like, to asking him, how are you feeling, how are you doing, you know. And Morpheus is giving this whole thing. He's like, I don't know how to. He's like, I don't know how I feel. You know, he's just conflicted and confused. You know, he's like, this world is not what it used to be for the most part. Might be a little bit wrong though. So they had this conversation, and then she gets up and she's like, well, I gotta get to work. You want to join me? And she's like, yeah, sure. He's like, I guess I'll go. So the episode, most of the episode, half of it is him and her talking, and Dream is watching his sister Death do her work and like what she does. So we see her go to this guy, this older man, and he's playing a piece, and she's talking to him, and she's like, do you know who I am? And then the realization hits him, and he's like, shit. He's like, do I got any more time? Like, can I do this? Can I say something? He's like, yeah, of course. And it's such a beautiful part. So he says, I forgot, it was like, I think it was the shaman, and he like that he makes his peace, and then she takes him with him, and he's like, so I'm dead, you know. And he's like, my father always said that if you say that before you die, you know, it's guaranteed a spot in a place in heaven. And Dream's watching this, doesn't say a word, and he's watching this go down, and then he walks away, and she opens up her wings, and she flies off. And I'm like, so then that's the whole episode, most of it. There was this one part where they show up to a house with a mother and a young daughter, a baby, and the mother walks away, and Death walks up. She's like, yeah, I'm sorry, but this is all you get, just a taste. And Dream's watching this, and he's like, so she picks him up, and she picks her up, the baby, and she walks off. And I'm like, and Dream walks up, and he looks, and then she comes back. She's like, okay, we can go now. And Dream's watching it, and he's like, yeah, and then during it, he's asking her these questions. He's like, how do you do this? Like, how are you able to do this? And she's like, what I realized is that I'm not alone when I do it. She's talking about how they're not alone and I'm not alone, because I'm holding their hand and they're holding my hand. You know, I'm the last face they see, and I make them comfortable, and all they really need is someone who's nice and can talk to them, you know. And it's so sweet, and it's so sad. And that whole part of the episode, I was like, why you gotta hit right here, man? Why you gotta hit this field? And that's and it was so, because that's what it was. It was just death, and Dream was getting this understanding, and after they were talking about some sort of meeting, some sort of it was a meeting or some sort of session or whatever. And he's like, and Morpheus was like, yeah, I was forced to miss the last one because I was trapped. And turns out he later told her that she did know that he was trapped, you know, that she was the one that was supposed to be summoned though. And he's like, what the shit? And she's like, come on, we gotta go, I don't want to miss the next one. And she goes to this guy who's on his honeymoon, and she's like, you gotta go. And he's like, it's too late, you know. She's like, all right. So they go, you know. It was just crazy. So then June talks to her one more time, and she's like, okay, I gotta go, you know, I gotta do more stuff. And then June's like, you know what, I finally get what you're trying to teach me, you know. I think it's time I go do something. So then it cuts to Dream walking to this building, and we get a flashback, a very long flashback, to where Dream and Death showed up to this pub called the White Horse in 1589. And I think it was either 1589 or 1489. And they show up to this pub, and there's this guy talking about death. He's like, about death itself, you know. He's like, I don't fear death. Death will never come for me, because I can just live, you know. I am not afraid of it, this, and that. And Morpheus is very intrigued by this and everything. So Morpheus looks, and he walks up, and he's like, huh. So he's like, so what makes you so, like, you know, all of it, about all, like, you know, what keeps you, you know, not fearful of death? And he's like, well, just there's no way I'll die. Again, I'm butchering all of this because I'm just trying to remember this song. I just watched it a few days ago. I'm just trying to give you the gist of it. So then he's talking to him. He's talking to him about it, and then he's like, you know what? How about I see you here in 100 years? And he looks at Death, and he's like, do your thing. And he's like, you know what? I'll take you up on it. So then Dream leaves, and he's there, and then 100 years, and boom, they're back in the same spot. They're talking, and they're like, he's like, how did you even do this? By the way, I should be, his name's Hob. He's played by Ferdinand Kingsley. Why did I mess that up? He's played by Ferdinand Kingsley. Anyways, so Hob is there, and he's like, how is this even possible? Like, how are you even here? And it's 100 years in the future, and he's like, well, what did you learn? Like, what happened? Like, this and that. He just wanted to learn something from him. That's the whole point of this. So then another 100 years pass, and they're talking again in the same exact spot, the same exact place. And he's like, I'm wealthy now, I have gold, I have a daughter, I have a son, I have a wife, I have food, I have wine, And they were like talking, and he's like, Dream's very interested, and then he like immediately takes it away when this guy, Shakespeare, to be more precise, before he was Shakespeare, Dream gets intrigued by him, and he walks off, and he talks to him instead, and he's kind of like, you know what, I'll have... This lady comes up, he's like, would you like the rack of lamps? And he's like, yeah, I'll take it. He's kind of showing that, he's probably going to lose everything. So 100 years goes by, and he does lose everything. He loses his wife, he loses his son, he loses his unborn son. He lost his gold, he lost it all. And, and Morpheus is, talking to him, and he's talking to, Hobbs talking to him, and he's like, what? He's like, Morpheus is like, do you want death? And he's like, no, why would I? Because I can get it all back. He's like, I don't want death. Even through all that shit he was going through, he didn't want death. So then 100 years goes by, and he's back at it again. He's fine. He's better. And they're talking again, and it's all the fancy with the little hair and the ribbons and whatever. And an ancestor of Joanna Constantine shows up, and she's like, the devil and like whoever you are. She's like, there's this photo that someone drew back in 100 years before when they last met, and they're like having a laugh about it, and they're like, yeah, that's not us. It's like, and Dream's like, I'm no devil, and he's like, yeah, and I'm not. And there was this whole thing about a Jew. What it was I can't remember the joke exactly, but because Joanna thought that Dream was the devil and Hob was a Jew, and he's like, no, I'm not a Jew. What are you talking about? And I don't know. It sounds weird, but it was funny on the show. So then, the episode continues, and then another 100 years goes by, and they're talking again, and Dream and Hob is like, you know what, I still don't know nothing about you. I know little to nothing, and you know what, I think I still know something, that I know why you're doing this, because you're looking for a friend, because you're alone. And Dream immediately took offense to that, and he's like, you dare say that I am alone? He's like, yeah. So then they get into an argument, and Dream leaves, and then 100 years goes by. It's 1989, and he doesn't show. Hobbs at the same exact place, obviously totally different design, and he doesn't show up is because Dream's trapped. He was trapped, and he couldn't be there. So he's like, well, shit, He's like, because he was talking to the barkeep, and he's like, I got in a fight with a friend, and I thought he would be here, but he wasn't. And then another 100, and then, he catches up, and Dream shows up, and he looks, and he's outside the original place, but it's shut down. So then there's a sign pointing to a place called the New Inn, so he walks in, and he sees him there, taking a drink, and then he walks up, and Hob looks up, and he's like, "You're late." And he's like, "Well, I'm sorry, got a little bit held up, but I heard it's bad to leave a friend unattended." And they both smile, and then he has a seat, and I was like, "Oh, it was like." He pointed out that, like, yeah, you guys are friends, it's like you guys meet every 100 years, and he stays alive because you guys have a fun conversation. You guys just talk, and Dream had a smile on his face and everything. It was just so good, such a good episode. And then it immediately went downhill. 7, 8, 9, and 10 were all about this dream vortex and serial killers and everything. I'm honestly not going to get into it much, but the last episode was just all those 6 episodes just felt very I mean, like, listen, this show could have gone with if you've seen the show could have gone without the vortex plot, and the whole serial killer plot with the Corinthian. He showed up in the original first episode, and I did like his character. I forgot his real name, Boyd Holbrook. He was great, but dude, it could have so gone without the Corinthian and, like, the serial killer stuff. It was honestly just, it was kind of boring, like you have those first 6 episodes, technically 5. And they're all really good, and then, like, it completely kind of just went. It's like it felt like it's an entirely new season shoved into another 5 episodes, and this whole dream vortex, which is supposed to destroy, the entire waking world and dreaming world if it's not contained. This high level threat, and it's shoved into 5 episodes. I'm like, what? And, I liked Rose. She was good. And, but it just felt like, just, The serial killer stuff was also crazy. And then the stuff with the brother Jed, it was all, I don't know. I didn't like it much. And I think the last half of episode 10 was great, But, dude, I'm just sitting there like, this whole, the ending of the show was the best because, well, so when there's a dream vortex, the dream vortex has to die. So, we go back to the original first episode. In the first episode, when Dream gets captured, people get put into the sleepy sickness. And there was this kid, Unity, who was one of the people to fall victim to it. So, Unity and her dreams had a kid, and she got pregnant in real life, and she had a kid with Desire, one of the Endless, the younger brother of Dream. So Unity has this kid when she's still asleep, and that kid later has Rose Walker. Now, Unity was supposed to be the original Vortex, but it passed on to her granddaughter, Rose, who is now the Dream Vortex. So the Dream Vortex has to die for the waking world and the dreaming world to live. So at the end of the episode, Unity is awake. She woke up 8 months before when Dream was finally released. And she's like, it's okay, just give me the Vortex, it's fine. So Rose takes the Vortex out, gives it to her, and Unity dies. So everything's at peace. And Rose gets to live with her brother, and Lydia, I forgot her name, but there was a bunch of other characters showed up, and Lydia, I forgot. Okay, so you're gonna get a cut right there. So wherever I was, Lydia and Gilbert were great. Mark Hamill again was barely in the episode, so he was barely in the show, but he was still great. And April and Kane were great too. But every other character at the end of towards the second half of the show was kind of just there. Honestly, I didn't care for them. So I'm just that second half of the show. Only the ending was good. And so, anyways, Rose goes off to write a book. She has her brother Jen now. Lydia has a kid. Everyone's happy. And then the ending, and then Lucifer gets meeting from someone named Azrael, not Azrael, but Azrula or something, some weird scratch in the universe kind of character. I don't know who it is. And he's like, I want you, the generals want you to make a move on not Lucifer, on Dream Morpheus. And she's like, all right, I'll make a move. And then at the end, she's like, I'm gonna make a move that brings Morpheus to his knees. And that was the end. So that sets up season 2 as Lucifer being, the next, not big bad, but the next antagonist, as you would say, or protagonist. I forgot which way it goes. But the story itself is just long, and I'm sorry if I joke it out. This is a full spoiler talk, so that's why I'm fully talking about everything, whole 9 yards. Anyways, sorry for the cut. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were the best of the series. 1, 7, 8, 9, 10 all were just there, to be honest. Just there. I don't really. They're less to be desired, to be honest. And I'm just like, it's okay. It's not great. Well, some of the parts of those episodes are great, but some of it's just good. It's alright. Obviously, the characters pretty much carried. Tom Sturridge as Dream Morpheus, the Sandman, absolutely fantastic. Stole the show in every single goddamn episode. Jenna Coleman, again, I just praised her earlier. She was fantastic. Patton Oswalt as Matthew, just great. Gwendoline Christie as Lucifer, also outstanding, only being in 2 episodes, basically. Ferdinand Kingsley, who played Hob in episode 6, also good, Kirby Howell as Death was fucking brilliant. I loved the dynamic between Dream and her, because they're brother and sister, and you really can't actually feel that sibling bond there. Boyd Holbrook, who played the Corinthian, was also fantastic too, and he was kind of like the main antagonist at the end of the series, and he was great too. I really do enjoy those characters, and they really did carry. There was the cinematography and the visuals, I will say, are absolutely beautiful. I do think this show looked really goddamn good, so I will 100% give it that, as well as the score. The score is beyond epic, and I loved the score. Just really good shit. And I think one thing I did like about the show is that it was more the writing was really, as much as I didn't really care about the story, the writing was really good. Well, I didn't care about the story. I didn't care about the second half of the story much. Don't come at me. It was okay. The writing is what it was really at. The writing was still pretty goddamn good. Despite the story being like, but that's pretty much it that I gotta say about this series. I'm sorry for the long review, but it's spoiler talk, and I just, I don't really know how to fluently take these words and put them out there. I'm sure it would be a little bit shorter, but that's pretty much all I really got to say about this show. It's very solid. It's very enjoyable. It's good. The characters carry. Again, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 absolutely carried this show 100%, especially episode 6 being the kind of breaking point. But it was a really solid show that I generally enjoyed. I do want a season 2, and I do hope they step up in season 2 with a story, and I hope it's just focused on one thing instead of 2 separate things, splitting the season into 2. That's like one of my biggest flaws with, funny enough, Daredevil season 2. It had the Punisher and Electric storyline when it should have been one or the other, not both, which I don't like when seasons do that, and because it's a lot, it handles too much. It's like, shit, Arrow season 6 is my least favorite season because it split Cade and James and the Dragon, Ricardo Diaz into one season, which it was like, why do that? I don't like when seasons do that. It separates it, and I don't like it. It's dumb. Don't do that. Just focus on one thing and make that the best you possibly can do, and that's what those 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 did. It made those the best possible. Even though episode 6 was like a total breaking point, you know, that was like a middle episode where it wasn't that story or that story. It was right down the middle, and it was fucking best episode of the season again. So was episode 3. You know, it's just focus on that. You know, and again episode. Yeah, you know, never mind. Just forget what I just said right there. Just focus on one plot point and make that the best you possibly can, instead of shoving those 5 random episodes in there that felt like, you know. Anyways, my final score for the Sandman is going to be an 8 out of 10. It's a good show, and I do recommend to watch it. But I feel like if you watch it, you have to understand it is a very slow start, and it's gonna take a second to kick in. To be completely honest with you, stop at episode 6. Don't worry about the rest. If you're really invested, watch 7, 8, 9, and 10. But if you're not, stop at 6. I know saying that's probably really stupid. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but that's just my personal opinion. But still, I'm gonna give the show an 8 out of 10 because it does deserve that, for the fact that it is entertaining, and there is really good solid writing in it, and again the characters carry. Anyways, that's the end of this very long spoiler talk review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want me to do more of these after I finish the season of the show, please comment down below. Tell me if you want to see them again. Anyways, sorry I did ramble a lot. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you can, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the future with a bunch of vlogs coming up from my Disneyland and San Diego vacation. Peace out. See you in the next one.